Hello there, Biakamuso desu and welcome to my review of Resident Evil 5 Remastered. So, I don't know if I have mentioned this before, but of course I have all the Resident Evils because I bought a collection of Resident Evils 4, 5 and 6 Remastered. Whatever that may be, I know that for Resident Evil 6 it's like you have access to all the campaigns right off the bat. But I don't know what differences does that make for Resident Evil 5. So, as far as I know, I'm only gonna be talking about my experience, no comparisons to what the remastered version actually brings, because I think it doesn't bring any difference unless I can see some videos comparing maybe graphics to see the maybe graphical upscale. But let's talk about this adventure then. After playing Resident Evil 5, I can finally understand why some people say that Resident Evil 4 was both the best thing and the worst thing that happened to Resident Evil. Because for me, Resident Evil 5 could be, I wouldn't need to do a lengthy review. It's basically a Resident Evil 4 skin with Chris as the protagonist and, just happening in Africa. That's basically what this is. Oh, and focusing on the last part of Resident Evil 4, the island part where you have a lot of shooting, that's the entirety of Resident Evil 5. Let's go into the actual review. The story is a little bland to me. I've been saying this for the past reviews, but some of these games, it's been a while since the last time I played them, and the strongest points of the games really stand out when it's been a while after you've played them. And you will see that I don't have a lot of strong points to mention about Resident Evil 5. This is not to say that it was not an enjoyable experience, but when it comes to Resident Evil games that I've played, it's certainly down there in the list. But the story is a little foggy to me. So Chris is sent, I think at this point he's working for the BSAA. Mind you that we haven't seen Chris since Resident Evil Code Veronica. I think that's the most recent game before Resident Evil 5 that you've seen. Because of course, after Code Veronica it's Resident Evil 4 and it's focused on Leon. And he's the protagonist of this one. One good thing I may say is that this is one of my favorite designs for Chris in this game, and I do know that he has the same voice actor as Sonic, which is very funny because it's not that you think of Sonic when playing with Chris, but sometimes you could hear the voice of the actor kind of slipping into Sonic's tone, which was very funny to me. Well, of course he's one of the, but I don't remember which Sonic game specifically, maybe Frontiers, not sure. And he partners up with Sheva because she's a local military that is there, and he's been sent to Africa because something similar to what happened in Spain, I think it's supposed to be in Resident Evil 4, it's supposed to be something similar to what happened with the Las Plagas virus. And something very similar is happening in Africa. And then that was actually a moment that I quite enjoyed. They say that it's derived from a plant that is there, and that was the origin of the progenitor virus was a flower that had this ability, and I really like that scientific context. So you have these, they seem like regular villagers, but some look pretty regular, just like with the Las Plagas, and some have increased, superhuman strength and all that, and some are mutated. So you see different, types, just as you see in Resident Evil 4. The thing is, they decided to do, for the first time, a mainline game that is co-op. So I'm not new to Resident Evil co-ops, because you have that with the Revelations games, but Resident Evil 5 is the first mainline one where you have the mandatory co-op. I will tell you, it's not that I don't like Sheva. I like Sheva, but I feel like she's, for someone that she is supposed to be a partner, she's a little bit underdeveloped. I mean, it's the only game that she appears because of the setting, but for someone that is supposed to be a partner, I didn't think that she had a lot of depth as a character. And the AI is absolutely atrocious. I cannot tell you how many times I was just pissed at the AI. And that is my main pet peeve, the main reason I dislike this game. Because I don't remember any instance where the game over was my fault. Most of the game overs, even if I was very close to dying, I will say almost certainly all the game overs I got was because my partner died, so Sheva died. And yes, I did play most of Resident Evil 5's campaign by myself. There were a few streams here and there where my boyfriend would be Sheva, which is kind of funny. I would be Chris, he would be Sheva. And they were, I will tell you, people say that Resident Evil 5 is mediocre if you play it with someone else, because at least you can laugh at the stuff that is happening. Honestly, not even that enjoyable to... I mean, of course I had more fun than when playing with the AI, but that's because the AI is just terrible. Sheva would die very frequently. If she had like a spray, a healing spray or herbs, she would heal me even if my HP was fine, you know, on the green area. She would heal me immediately if she had the chance. That actually happened once. She was not helpful at all. Sometimes I would try to give her ammo, she would be fixated on using one gun and not use the ammo for the other one. So many problems with the AI. So I guess she was there just for more inventory space. Because other than that, of course, when you play with an actual person, you have the advantage of, you have an actual, you know, human being controlling the character, so it's more effective. But other than that, I don't think the game is appealing enough. Then you also have, just like today, you know, like I have like this filter of yellow across the game for some reason. It's kind of hurtful to the eyes, actually. The story is very bland. The highlight of the story, I mean, I don't even remember the reason why Chris was in Africa. I'm pretty sure it was because of the virus. But the highlight of the game is that Wesker returns, which you see the rivalry between Chris and Wesker returning, which is awesome. And Jill also returns. So the last time we saw Jill was in Resident Evil 3, and now she's back because she went missing, and now she's finally back, and she looks different, she's being controlled, and she has all this plot around her. And honestly, this look for Jill is one of the looks that I enjoy the most. And I feel that it's such a waste and such a shame that Jill does not appear in any other Resident Evil games going further into the franchise. Because, I mean, she's badass, she looks awesome, why not take it? And finally she was freed from Wesker's control. And of course this is the very memeable game where everyone likes to reference Chris's punch, which was something that I already knew of even before I saw the scene. The scene is ridiculous, but I guess everything in this game, when it comes to the fights against Wesker, is so over the top. Wesker looks like this guy that came out of Matrix, and he's able to dodge all the bullets. Fighting him was a pain. I never thought I would struggle with a boss fight in Resident Evil. I mean, of course there are other boss fights I have struggled before, but he just dodges everything so fast. It's his, I mean, I know that he's supposed to be this overpowered enemy, but it was a little too much, and I really struggled with that final fight. And I don't think I have much more to say. I mean, you have some sections where you are riding a truck, fighting enemies, you know, either you are the one riding, or then it depends what the AI assumes that does. You have also the boat thing where the AI also assumes. I will say that the main hindrance of this game is the AI. The co-op is much easier to do because you have two people thinking and managing resources. The AI is very badly, you know, optimized for you to be able to do a good game. And that's it. I like very much Chris's personality. Sheva is bland. Jill, is amazing. I like the plot of her being controlled and then being freed. It's a shame that she doesn't appear in any game after this. And Wesker, well, we finally dealt with Wesker's plot, because he's finally defeated, even though Chris thought that, you know, Wesker had died, what, in the first game? But Wesker made a surprise appearance, showing everyone that he was actually alive in both Code Veronica and Resident Evil 4. So yeah, finally with Resident Evil 5 we close Wesker's chapter. Or do we? Let's see that. I like the voice acting, I like the soundtrack. Once again, it's not one of those games where you really pay attention to the soundtrack. It's adequate for the game and for the settings that they show you. And the plot, like I said, I don't remember anything that sticks out to me besides the talking about where the progenitor virus came from, which is that specific flower. Sheva is not really developed, and Wesker and Jill are the highlights of this game. So, hope you enjoyed this review. The gameplay, there's not much to talk about because it's the same controllers that you are familiar with, you know, and it's a lot of shooting, and more shooting, and more shooting. So, thank you so much for sticking around for this review. It's a small one, and I still have more Resident Evils that I have played and that I hope to share the reviews soon enough. So, thank you so much. And please, if you like this content, leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to check my Twitch channel to see everything firsthand. And hope to see you in the next video. May music always be your life.